Hi, my name is Allie, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the maker behind Crochet in the Mud, where I make both crochet plushies as well as pottery. And today is going to be a weekly makes and one of many in the future that are going to be pre-recorded. So typically I try to record these Monday morning and then get them posted by noon Mountain Time. But we've got a bunch of markets coming up, so in order to show you what I made, I have to film it before the market, if that kind of makes sense. But today is an extra busy week. So today is Friday, October 3rd, and it is the release day of Taylor's new album. So I actually have to get going here in just a minute to go to one of the stores I sell in, Eclectic. We are doing a listening party for the new album, and I signed up to work tonight. So typically I do opening shifts, so it'll definitely be odd to be doing a closing shift, and not even that, an extra late. They're open late today because it's first Friday and they're doing this listening party, so it's gonna be odd. And I have a 2-day market this weekend. And do I have my plushies that I made this week and last week tagged? No. Have I loaded the car yet? No. So we're gonna have a very late night when I get back from that, but I'll quickly show you what all I made to see if hopefully we can have a little bit of time to load the car before I leave. But yeah, we'll get on the way. So I mentioned I'm going to the listening party tonight, so a bunch of the vendors have Life of a Showgirl specific merchandise, but there's not really much you can do with plushies aside from making a doll of Taylor, which I'm not going to do because her entire likeness is copywritten. So I kind of just took the album colors as inspiration. If you saw last week's weekly makes, you would have seen I made a dragon using the orange and teal color. So I made a couple of these pocket octos. I'm not sure how the two-tone will work, but I made 3 of them. It's something. So these I sell for $12. So we'll see how these 3 do, but I'm sure even after the fact, somebody will like this color combo and buy it. But then in that same vein, we have probably the thing I made the most of this week, and that would be axolotls. So I made 3 in the color scheme for the album. I made 2 of this one and 1 this way. And I sold my axolotls for $21, but I was very tempted for these to put $22 as the price, because how can you not for Taylor night? But if they didn't sell today, I didn't want to re-sticker them really late at night before I left. So we've got these 3 for tonight, and then we actually have more. I ended up making 13 for the week. So here are the other colors I did. I only had 1 of these pink left for market, and I was sold out of these blues, which these are the best 2 selling colors. And this one was a whip. So I just quickly finished it up. So there's only 1 purple, and then I think it was 5 blue, 4 pink. I don't know for certain, but 13 total in terms of axolotls. So if 3 are going to the store, then that means 10 going to markets, which will probably do really well. They're typically a better seller, and I don't think I've updated you all. I did recently up my price from $18 to $21. They are selling like ever so slowly slower, which is great. That's kind of what I was hoping for, because these are hard for me to keep in stock, and supply and demand. So I didn't kill my sales by raising the price from 18 to 21. Speaking of the whips, in terms of that purple guy, I was doing Stash Bust September as like a challenge and doing a mini series. They are slowly coming out. I'll link the playlist up above up here. But I needed to finish this guy. All it needed done was surface crocheting the 3 fins on, and tell me why it sat in that bucket for weeks. I'm typically pretty good about whips and finishing everything up throughout the week, but I just couldn't bring myself to surface crochet these limbs on. But they did get finished by the end of the month, so that they could get counted for how many plushies I could make throughout the month, and yarn use and all of that. So go to that playlist I linked up there. I know, I'm sorry, I'm so behind on videos right now, but we are at least within a month. So I should be caught up here shortly, hopefully, and then you'll just have market video after market video after market video. So hopefully you like that. But yeah, this guy is 16, I think. Yeah, had to double check. 16. And we'll see how he does. The other clownfish I made a couple of weeks ago, I haven't sold any. But that's pretty typical for the clownfish and why I don't make them all that often. But I have so much orange yarn to use up, which is why I was kind of excited about orange being the album color. And I definitely should have made more plushies for this. We'll see if what I made 3, 3, and 1, so 7 plushies if they even sell today. But I really need ideas for how to use up all of that orange, because I'm sure you saw when you were shopping the Joann foreclosure that just about every store was down to only orange by the end, and it was like 90 cents, so how could I say no? We're just really going out of order this week. I'm just grabbing whatever plushie's closest to me. But next on the list was another restock for Eclectic. Last Friday I also worked a shift and I had a list of things I wanted to make to bring, and I didn't quite finish the list, so I pushed it into this week a little bit. But we are trying to make Eclectic be so overstocked that we are good for, well, I guess I work the 3rd and then I don't work again until the 27th. So it needs to last the whole month of October, but also I'm trying to really stock them well for holidays. I usually struggle once you hit like mid-December keeping them well stocked. And I know that it is in the detriment to myself because there are so many people there and the sales are great even with what I can bring them. So if I could just stock them better, how much more would my sales be? And at the moment, I don't have any December markets. I have applied to a bunch, so we'll see if I hear back from any. But I think I'm not going to be too upset if I don't get into any, or even if it's just like 1 or 2, because then I can focus fully on, I guess I'm in 2 stores, but put majority of my energy on this one store to see just how high we can get those sales. I want to say December's normally like 2,000, but editing me can put the number on the screen if I'm wrong about what I typically do for December. And November is also elevated in terms of sales. All that to say, I made some more Tofu Turtles, as you see like every week from me. These shells I made at the beginning of Stash Bus September, so I was able to just grab them and add the bodies to them. But I made 8 total this week, which the goal was to bring, of the 3 colors of Tofu Turtles I offer, 5 of each color to the store. But since my last shift, a green one has sold, so now there is going to be 5 beige, 5 pink, and 4 green. So they already had pink at the store, that's why there's not 10 Tofu Turtles here. They're completely sold out of beige, so I made 5 and then 3 pinks because they had 2 already. The Tofu Turtles seem to do really well there. And then this next one, I guess, was also a whip. But I couldn't decide whether or not I wanted to give it to the store or add it to my market inventory because my markets already have a handful of them. But that would be these booty turtles. So for the longest time this year, I've had a bunch of bodies laying around because I ran out of the shell color. And then I finally got shell color and was slowly working through it. But I had my last 2. I thought I had more bodies, but I only had 2 left. I had made the shell and just didn't sew the ends in. So that was also sitting in my whip bucket for a little bit. But finally weaved in the ends, and I think I'm just going to give this to my market inventory. And hopefully they do well. And continuing the theme of Stash Bus September, well, I guess I started this during the October part of the week, but I'm going to make a Stash Bus September scratch out October video just because I didn't get what I wanted to get done during September. Part of that is because I took a week off for the wedding, but I don't know if you can see, the green shelf looks a little different now. I pulled 3 skeins off of there, and I'm just slowly going to make a bunch of frogs out of them. This is the mini Leggy froggy, and it does pretty well for me. I hadn't really done a Leggy Froggy for the longest time, and finally a couple months ago did this pattern. So these just sell for $14, and I have written down that I made 8, but I could have swore it was 9. I guess the correct number will be on the screen, because I'll find out when I go to tag all of my plushies for the market from this week and last week. I'm gonna be up so late today, then I have to get up early tomorrow. It's alright though. But yeah, so we have, this is the sparkle green. You probably can't see the sparkle in the camera. This is one of the mystical greens. And then this one is, I don't think it's the tie-dye-ish, it's the baby, which I have bought both skeins thinking they were the other before and been confused because they're ever so slightly different. I don't know if they're both still a thing, but definitely confused beginner crocheter me why they were not the same when they looked similar. And then the last thing on the list, I am going to have to tell you the price later because again I have to do it when I'm tagging them later. This is the least prepared I am for one of these weekly makes videos, I think. And of course I feel I need to rush because I need to head out here in just a minute to go to the store and possibly load my car. I haven't decided yet. But if you've been following my channel for a while, you've probably heard me sound like a broken radio when I over and over and over again say I'm going to use my velvet yarn. And I told myself during Stash Bust September I needed to use it completely. Did I touch it? Not until the last day of the month. So it was on my list. I just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. But I finally got around to making this little hippo from Crochet with Bay. And this thing is tiny. So this is partly why I kind of need to figure out pricing. I did do all the things for my formula where I timed myself, I weighed out the materials. I just haven't put it into the formula yet because I've been procrastinating. So after I made this one, I decided to double strand, and can I just say this is so much bigger. So much bigger. I feel like though it gives off like the double stranded one doesn't feel quite as velvety anymore. Like it almost double stranding it kind of ruins the velvetness. I don't know if I'm making any sense. But I can't decide if I'm going to charge the same for both of them or not. There is going to be a slight difference in terms of materials just because double stranding used 3 times the amount of yarn than the single stranded one did. But that's for a later me to decide, and you will know because it's going to be on the screen here. But after these two, I was like, let me double strand it. Or I guess I was already double stranding. Let me put the two together. I can't decide if I love or hate it. What do we think? I don't know. Something about this gives me sports team though. I don't know. But we have these ones, and I saw the best idea. So somebody commented and told me that the velvet colors I have would be wonderful for dragons. And now I need to make a dragon with it. So I do think moving forward I'm going to double strand just to kind of help me make bigger plushies and also use the yarn faster. So I have these two colors. I have a maroon, a black, a white, and then another skein of this color. I think those are all the colors I have for velvet. So if you don't see me by end of October using velvet again, yell at me. So I do have 3 weekends in a row of markets, and then I think I have 1 weekend off, then pick back up. It's gonna get crazy here, but I do like to use market prep as an excuse to not use my Not Brunette blanket yarn. So If by the end of the month I haven't used velvet yarn again, please yell at me in the comments. In a nice way though. But now for the final numbers. Now keep in mind this was me crocheting from Monday through like half day Friday. I do know I'm going to be crocheting this weekend. I'm going to be bringing all of the yarn to make chickens because I think I have 2 left. But I was like, that's an easy thing I can crank out at the market. But whatever I make this weekend, I will put in like next week's. If I'm good at keeping track at the market, which sometimes I'm not. But if you see different numbers on the screen than what I say, it's because my math was wrong, or I changed the price of the hippo, or I messed up somewhere. So the numbers I have right now are that for this week I made 47 plushies, which came out to about $827 worth of inventory for the week, which is right in between my goals. So I have a goal to make at the very minimum $750 a week, and then ideally $1,000 a week. But it's been a weird week. My husband is out of town the whole week, so that throws off my schedule because typically I work when he's working. So I was working all day and then like taking breaks at random points in the day and doing non-work related stuff, including making friendship bracelets for tonight at the store. And I guess I also didn't show you the nails for tonight. So hopefully you can see those. I don't know. But calculating out what's going to the store versus what's going to markets, it's a little less than half going to markets, or a little less than half going to my store. But that brings the market inventory to approximately $5,145, which is great. I did have a goal to bring $5,000 of inventory to this market, so I was able to restock what all I sold at my last market, as well as heavily stock my store. We'll see how much I sell this weekend. Hopefully quite a bit. I have a goal of selling $2,000, but I also have non-plushie inventory like my pottery, crochet kits, all of that jazz. So based on how much we sell will determine if I make a goal next week of just bring as much as I can to the market the following weekend, I guess. Well, I've got to hop off to now go last minute drive over to the store to put my stuff out and then work the shift and hopefully have a fun night. It should be great. We're going to listen to the album the whole night. There's going to be mocktails. I'm also annoying my cats right now because they're both napping right next to me and probably annoyed that I'm being loud. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too rushed. I know I am trying to kind of rush it while I'm filming it, which wasn't the original intention, but I just lost track of time and I've got to head out here. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Wish me luck at my market this weekend. Well, I guess it would have just finished when you watch this, but you can wish me luck at the one the following weekend. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!